Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I wanted to talk you through my favorite art supplies as of February 2024. So jumping right in, I have divided these up into sections. So the first section is drawing and sketching. So starting off, I use a 6B pencil. I use these pencils for sketching in my sketchbook, figure studies, and anything that needs like a variety of value. I like having one pencil that I can like use and be versatile with instead of having a bunch of pencils. For more like finished pieces or bigger pieces, it's fine. But for like small sketches in my sketchbook and just little value studies, I like using a 6B pencil. My second staple is my Bic ballpoint pen. Now this one is like a staple in many sketchbook havers, pencil cases. I like these for taking notes in my sketchbook and quick ideas and anything that's like small and simple. Being able to switch back and forth between like writing and drawing thumbnails without using a different pen, it's just like an added bonus because I don't need to be like stopping what I'm doing, grabbing another pen. And it also works kind of like a pencil with the amount of line variety and like pressure you can get. And it's also super cheap, which is like major bonus. And also the Bic mechanical pencil. This is my classic mechanical pencil, and I don't have anything really like special to remark about it. It's just cheap, works good. I don't know, they're also just like really easy to come by and not expensive, so great. Now on to some pens. For my Tombow brush pens, I believe these come in a pack of 2 pens, but I love using these for when I'm practicing line quality and trying to be very intentional with my lines, either with like casual sketches and doodles or figure studies. Even though the ink in these pens are very juicy and dark, I can still get a precise line without like any pooling or bleeding, which is like really great. Now, I did talk about this brush pen in my last video, but my Muji brush pen, it's got to be my favorite brush pen that I've tried. It's great on smooth paper for like nice inky lines and incredible precision. I like using this for hand studies, environment studies, and anything that like uses a variety of line thickness. And with this pen, the lines are like consistently dark, so there's no patchy spots unless it's like intentional. And the only like problems I've ran into is on paper with a little more of a tooth or a little like kind of drier texture. It reflects that in the pen. It's not as juicy and it's a little more dry. Going back to pencils, I recently tried the Pilot Color Eno, what are these called? Pilot Color Eno in 0.7. I like that I can bring them on the go and use them like a pencil crayon for sketching without like the worry of having to have a pencil sharpener, because I have had so many disastrous instances with pencil sharpeners in my backpack and I don't want to do that, so I don't even bring one anymore. Which brings me to my next supply, pencil crayons. I like using pencil crayons as like initial sketches for painting, sketching in my sketchbook, thumbnailing, etc, etc. And also for when I'm doing a big finished painting, I like to do a pencil crayon sketch and then put gesso over top and then paint over top of that. I just think it's really nice, and it's kind of better than graphite because it's a little bit of a pop of color and it's a little easier to hide with paint. So I have 3 Prismacolor pencils that I love to use, but I also have many like Crayola and assorted brands that I also use as well. It's just the only difference is that Prismacolor is a little more buttery, and therefore when I want to make really dark lines and have like a wider value range, I opt for them instead of my like quote cheaper options. And a combination that I really like is my white charcoal pencil. I'm the Gioconda white coal pencil, but I like using this with my cream colored Prismacolor pencil. It just works great for adding background texture, and it's just another layer to like bring the whole piece together or sketch. So now moving on to painting, let's start with the water-based mediums and of course gesso. I like using this white Liquitex gesso and this black Montmartre. And for my oil painting, I tend to work on a black background, so this definitely comes in handy. For gouache, as a lot of you know if you're like a continuous viewer of the channel, I use Himi Maya gouache. I've had this gouache for close to I think 3 years now, and for the time it served, I would say that it made me love using gouache and let me improve my skills without being worried about wasting expensive supplies. When I first bought these paints, they were about like 20 to 30-ish Canadian dollars, and for the price, I would say like the quality is great. And yeah, I just use them a lot in my sketchbook and thumbnailing. As you've seen on my channel, I have a few gouache paintings up, but I am close to the end of them now because they're starting to dry up and become unusable, and I have considered upgrading soon to either Holbein or Turner gouache. Yeah, they definitely serve their time well, and I would recommend them to like anybody wanting to start using gouache. For my brushes, I don't use anything super special. I was gifted these brushes, so I'm not exactly sure where they're from, but they do work really, really well. The pack that I was gifted had a bunch of different sizes, and I use them like every time I'm working with gouache because they just feel so high quality. For paper, I have kind of a bad habit of using like any and all paper I can get my hands on for mediums that I probably shouldn't use with them. But as of recent months, I've been using this Canson mixed media paper for my finished gouache paintings, excluding sketchbook stuff, and my Canson drawing paper with a layer of gesso for oil painting studies, which is what you're seeing as the B-roll in this video, and also for larger pencil drawings and stuff that's more like scholarly. In the sketchbook department, I don't really stick to the same sketchbook, but I have found that I really like working in the Artist Loft sketchbooks, and I've rebought them so many times just because they're so cheap and accessible to me, and I can use like so many different mediums in them. And of course I still warp a bit, but if you're like me, that's like not much of a problem at all. Moving on to oil paints, I use my Gamblin oil paints. They are my ride or die paints at the moment. I found this set on sale about like a little less than a year ago for about $40, and as I'm running out of the tubes, I've had to like opt and compromise for Artist Loft paints, except for my burnt umber, which I needed to be a little higher quality just because I use it so often. That being said, if you want to help me buy more paints and more of my Gamblin paints, my Ko-fi is linked in the description with a tip jar and commission information if you'd like to commission me. Linseed oil, I didn't hear about linseed oil until fairly recently. I want to say about a year ago. Really changed how I paint so much. It's so much easier to mix colors and get like a smooth application on the canvas with just a drop of this like miracle liquid. The one I buy is this Winsor & Newton bottle from Michaels. I think this is a $12 bottle, but yeah, it's nice and small. So those are all of my favorite art supplies. Hope you all liked this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.